the tension between desire and devotion. Erotic Bhakti, the path of loving God as a divine spouse, lover, or even as an intimate physical presence, has existed for centuries. Saints like Andal, Mirabai, Akka Mahadevi, Laleshwari, and even Jayadeva, in his Gita Govinda, express their longing for union with the divine in deeply sensual, physical, and intimate terms. Yet today, erotic bhakti is often misunderstood, dismissed, or even seen as inappropriate. Why? Why is longing for God in a physical, erotic way seen as controversial when it has always been a legitimate path in bhakti traditions? This video explores how erotic bhakti has been a part of Hinduism for centuries, why society today struggles to accept it, how desire for the divine is different from mundane desire, the role of Tantra in bridging eroticism and bhakti. The historical presence of erotic bhakti in Hinduism. Erotic bhakti is not a modern invention, nor is it a distortion. It has been woven into the fabric of Hindu devotion for over 1,000 years. Saints, poets, and mystics across Vaishnavism, Shaivism, Shaktism, and Tantra have expressed their longing for God in the language of intimacy, passion, and even erotic desire. Why? Because when words failed, love spoke. The ordinary language of prayer could not capture the burning intensity of devotion. So mystics reached for the closest human experience to describe their longing, the yearning of a lover for the beloved. In Vaishnavism, we see this most vividly in the love of Radha and Krishna, their playful embraces, their secret midnight meetings, their tears of separation, all became metaphors for the soul's relationship with God. Jayadeva's Gita Govinda, written in the 12th century, celebrated this divine romance with such sensual imagery that it is still sung in temples today. Shaivism and Shaktism, too, embraced this path. Shiva and Shakti were not only cosmic forces, they were lovers, entwined in eternal union. Their intimacy symbolized the merging of consciousness and energy, a reminder that creation itself is born from divine love. And in Tantra, eroticism was never rejected. Instead, desire was seen as a sacred force. The same longing that pulls two bodies together could, when purified, pull the soul toward the divine. In this vision, erotic energy was not an obstacle but a bridge. From Radha's passionate cries to Andal's bridal devotion, from Akka Mahadevi's surrender to Laleshwari's intoxicated verses, erotic bhakti has always been present. It was never hidden. It was celebrated as one of the deepest ways to experience God, not as an abstract concept, but as an intimate presence. Akka Mahadevi, the rebel saint. Akka Mahadevi, the 12th century Kannada mystic, embodied a radical form of erotic bhakti. Her devotion to Shiva was so consuming that she renounced worldly attachments, even clothing, to live fully as a bride of the divine. To Akka, Shiva was not a distant god, but the ultimate lover, whose presence she felt in every heartbeat. Her vachanas, poetic sayings, overflow with longing, surrender, and intoxication of love. She spoke of burning desires, not for earthly pleasures, but for union with Shiva. Every act of rebellion, every defiance of societal norms, was rooted in a singular aim: to merge with the beloved. Akka Mahadevi teaches that erotic bhakti is fearless, unbound by conventions, and transformative, turning desire into a ladder for spiritual ascent. Laleshwari, the mystic of Kashmir. Laleshwari, or Lal Ded, the 14th century Kashmiri saint, expressed erotic bhakti through the lens of divine intoxication and mystical insight. Her verses, known as Vox, speak of a love that dissolves the self entirely into Shiva. Like a lover lost in union, she blurs the lines between longing and fulfillment, desire and liberation. Through poetry rich with imagery, she conveys the paradox of love, To desire God fully is to already possess Him. Every verse celebrates intimacy with the divine, not through rituals but through a heart surrendered completely. Laleshwari shows that erotic bhakti is not about physicality. It is the ecstatic, transformative experience of feeling God as a presence, a lover, and the very essence of life. The modern struggle. Why erotic bhakti challenges society. Even though erotic bhakti has thrived for centuries, society today often struggles to understand it. Modern minds tend to separate spirituality from passion, devotion from desire, and God from intimacy. The idea that longing and erotic imagery could be a path to the divine seems scandalous or inappropriate. But this discomfort says more about societal conditioning than about the saints themselves. Mirabai, Akka Mahadevi, and Laleshwari dared to express the soul's yearning openly, showing that divine desire transcends conventional morality. Their love was not about indulgence, it was about surrender. Every tear, every song, every ecstatic dance was a dialogue with God, a language that could not be spoken in ordinary words. Divine desire versus mundane desire. It's easy to confuse the soul's longing for God with earthly lust, but they are fundamentally different. Mundane desire seeks possession, control, or pleasure. Divine desire seeks union, transformation, and ecstasy of the soul. Mirabai's tears for Krishna were not about physical intimacy. They were about merging with the beloved's essence. Akka Mahadevi's verses, so fervent and fearless, reveal a desire that dissolves the self and clings only to the divine. In this context, erotic imagery becomes a metaphor, a bridge between human experience and divine truth. Passion is not rejected, it is purified and redirected. What seems scandalous on the surface is, at its core, an expression of the soul's deepest yearning. Tantra, the sacred bridge. Tantra understood the sacred power of desire better than most traditions. In Tantra, erotic energy is not taboo. It is a force of creation, transformation, and spiritual ascent. Just as two lovers' longing can pull them together, the purified energy of desire can draw the soul to the divine. Erotic bhakti and Tantra converge here. Where a saint's song or a devotee's dance expresses passion for God, Tantra provides a framework to harness that intensity. The union of body and soul, of energy and consciousness, mirrors the cosmic dance of Shiva and Shakti. Desire is not denied. It is elevated, sacred, and transformative. Tantric saints and the sacred dance of desire. Throughout Hinduism, Tantra has always recognized that desire, when purified, is a doorway to the divine. Saints like Laleshwari in Kashmir and Matsyendranath in the Nath tradition embodied this understanding. They taught that longing, whether expressed in song, meditation, or ritual, could awaken the soul's highest energies. Laleshwari's vox, mystical poems, often use erotic imagery to describe union with God. She speaks of the soul as a bride, the divine as a beloved, and longing as a sacred fire that burns away ego and attachment. Every metaphor, every verse is a teaching. Desire is not sinful. It is a tool for spiritual transformation. Similarly, tantric practitioners have long used ritual, mantra, and meditation to channel sexual energy toward devotion and liberation. In their view, passion and intimacy are not distractions. They are mirrors of the cosmic relationship between Shiva and Shakti, the male and female principles of the universe. The dance of the lover and beloved becomes the dance of consciousness itself. By embracing desire rather than suppressing it, these saints demonstrated that erotic bhakti is not about indulgence, but about depth, surrender, and awakening. Modern society may struggle to understand this path, yet the saints' lives and poetry remind us that longing, when directed toward the divine, becomes sacred, transformative, and eternal. Erotic bhakti, longing as a path to transformation. Erotic bhakti is not mere poetry or ritual. It is a journey of the heart. From Mirabai's impassioned songs to Laleshwari's mystical verses, from the playful romance of Radha and Krishna to the sacred union of Shiva and Shakti, this devotion shows us that desire, when directed toward the divine, becomes a force of transformation. Unlike mundane desire, which seeks to possess or control, the longing of erotic bhakti opens the soul. It dissolves the ego, softens fear, and awakens a deeper awareness of the divine presence in every moment. The pain of separation, the ecstasy of union, and the dance of longing are all mirrors reflecting the soul's innermost hunger for God. Tantra, poetry, and song are the vessels of this sacred yearning. They remind us that intimacy with the divine is not abstract. It is felt, lived, and experienced. Desire, when purified, is a bridge, not a barrier. It carries the seeker from the human heart to the heart of God. In this light, erotic bhakti is timeless. It transcends centuries, cultures, and social taboos. It teaches us that the deepest love, the love that transforms, is never safe, neat, or ordinary. It is raw, consuming, and beautiful, a longing that, when embraced fully, reveals the soul's ultimate freedom and union with the divine. Why society today struggles to accept erotic bhakti. When we look at the history of Hinduism, erotic bhakti was not seen as scandalous. Saints like Mirabai, Akkamahadevi, Jayadeva, and others expressed their longing for God in the language of love, passion, and even desire. But in today's world, many people hesitate to embrace or even acknowledge this side of devotion. Why is that? One major reason is the influence of colonial morality. During British rule in India, Victorian ideas of proper religion shaped how Indians themselves started seeing their traditions. Anything sensual, passionate, or bodily was labeled immoral or indecent. Erotic poetry, temple sculptures, and tantric practices were suppressed or ignored. What once was sacred became taboo. Another reason is the way society now separates the body from spirituality. Modern culture often views the body as something shameful, something that must be hidden, while the soul is seen as pure. But Bhakti never made such a sharp division. For the Bhakta, the whole human being, body, mind, heart, was a path to God. To express divine longing through the language of desire was not seen as dirty. It was seen as authentic. There is also fear. Erotic bhakti reminds us that true devotion is not polite, calm, or restrained. It is wild, consuming, and vulnerable. Society today is uncomfortable with such intensity. It prefers religion to be safe, moral, and socially acceptable. Erotic bhakti breaks those boundaries, showing that love for God can be as overwhelming as human passion. Finally, modernity itself has made desire shallow. We live in a world where desire is constantly sold to us through advertisements, media, and consumer culture. Because of this, when people hear of erotic devotion, they immediately confuse it with physical lust. They forget that the longing of the saints was not for another human being, but for the eternal. So society struggles to accept erotic bhakti not because it is less relevant today, but because we have lost the language to understand it. The saints were not celebrating lust. They were showing us that the same fire that burns in human passion can be directed toward God, transforming desire into a path of liberation. Conclusion: embracing the sacred flame. Erotic bhakti is not about lust, nor is it about indulgence. It is about surrendering every part of ourselves, body, heart, and soul, to the divine. Saints like Mirabai, Akkamahadevi, Laleshwari, and countless others showed us that longing, even when expressed in passionate, erotic terms, can become a doorway to transcendence. Today's society may still struggle with the language of desire in spirituality, often confusing it with ordinary craving. But when seen deeply, erotic bhakti reminds us that love itself is the bridge to God. Desire, when purified and directed, transforms into devotion. The stories of these mystics are not just history. They are mirrors asking us, can we love the divine with the same intensity, the same risk, the same fearlessness? Because at its heart, bhakti is not about rules or distance. It is about closeness. It is about becoming one with the beloved, where the lover, the love, and the divine dissolve into a single eternal flame.